Okay, so I think I should introduce myself in a way that makes more sense in what the channel is about. So it's gonna be a vlogging channel and mainly a day in the life of me, the founder, the host, the narrator of the channel, but mainly with the focus to find the community to surround myself with that is like-minded, has the same intentions, wants to reach the same goal, and wants to get in the same place in time where they need to be to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish in life, establish themselves in life, right? For me, my journey starts in Belgium. Now, I was born in Belgium, I've been raised in Belgium, I adopted the Belgian customs. Also, my background is mixed, so I have practically a low percentage of origin connection with the country, with the soil I'm born upon, but there is a little and enough to have some type of connection. You know, I've seen a lot of things change between 15 and 30 years, and I'm in my mid-30s right now. I came to the realization that whatever is going on in the world, if you look at the UK, if you look at America, if you look at other parts of Western Europe, I'm kind of caught in the middle, you know what I mean? And it kind of makes me take already some steps that are essential to my own wealth, well-being, and future, if I want a future. Now, people are going to ask me like, okay, what specific can you please tell us? Well, at first, you know, when everything was kind of affordable and there was still a possibility to establish yourself financially or career or educational wise, you know what, like on a low-key level where you don't put yourself into debt. But with all these years going by, inflation, you know, the cost of everything, everything going up, you know, insurance, being able to afford a car, being able to afford housing, being able to afford all the essentials, it becomes a literal burden, and it becomes less and less affordable as a single person, as a single person household. Now, if I just calculate everything, you know, to give you a brief example of what I have to pay monthly, being by myself and trying to keep the cost as low as possible, besides of course food, because you don't always, you know, stick to the budget. You kind of sometimes go overboard depending on what your needs are. You know, it's not always as easy, but just saying the standard costs. You know, water is basically over 100 euros every 3 months, meaning that it's about 40, let's say 42 euros every month for one person. That means dishes, doing the dishes, flushing the toilet, using the shower, and using the sink. But you gotta know and you gotta remember that when I say doing these things, I don't mean anything excessively. I mean doing the dishes once a week, flushing the toilet once a day, taking the shower once a week, brushing your brushing your teeth and washing your face only in the morning and doing it in the evening somewhere else. And that leads up to 42 euros a month. That's crazy. Okay, the next thing is electricity. Even if you go for the cheapest contract with the cheapest company, it's still going to be about 40 euros gas and 40 euros electricity. Now, that's still reasonable, because I remember there was a point in time that I had to pay 23 euros for gas and 23 euros for electricity. And for water it was like 24 euros. So you see that prices did go up, but some primal needs are higher price than the others. But everything combined leads to a certain amount, and that's a lot of money if it's on a monthly basis. Wi-Fi seems to be the same at many locations or many places in the world. For me, it's about 28 euros, so it's almost 30 euros, but that's kind of like the basic plan. That means 150 gigabyte all in total, with limitations placed upon you during the week and a little extra during the weekend. But you can't go overboard, so you're not going to get like charged any type of fee if you use more, so they can't just stop it and block you from accessing internet. Now, I could go up in having an unlimited plan, but that costs a lot of money. That's basically almost double. And I'm not gonna do that because I'm not gonna stay, so there's no point. Okay, so food, I used to pay 200 euros back in the day, you know what I mean, like many years ago, and now I'm about 340, 360 340, 360 euros monthly. And then cat food is also about like 60 euros a month. And then I don't have any medical expenses. And then what I purchase, and I'll be honest, you know, I have to be honest, and I'm kind of guilty of buying a lot of stuff past months, but it's kind of more because I completely changed my wardrobe. I sold a lot of stuff, that's one thing, but I also bought a lot of stuff, kind of to compensate what I like, what is essential to my needs to be able to function in the future. And it's not always easy to distinguish what is relevant or not. Sometimes we buy things because we're like, oh yeah, that looks good, I'm gonna wear it. And sometimes you buy something and you get disappointed after wearing it once. Sometimes you buy something but you're not really wearing it. Sometimes you buy something, you wear it every day. You can't say from the moment you see it and you want to buy it, even if it's secondhand, because that's the thing, right? I did save money by using store credit, so I didn't have to always take the money out of my own pocket. But the point is that I did sell stuff, I did buy stuff, and that led to a lot of extra expenses. For me, the money I could save would be between 200 euros and 500 euros maximum. So that means an average of 300 euros if I'm lucky. But from that money gets deducted as well that I'm saving for my pension plan, you know. And there is health insurance, there is fire insurance, you know, the living expenses of the place I'm located, the city I'm located, like city council tax. So all these things also get taken off that budget I still have at the end of the month. So there are some things I still have to keep in mind. But the point is, yeah, I could average 200, 300 euros definitely every month. And then I still have a little pocket money, you know what I mean, like 50 euros or 80 euros if I feel like it. So that's still good, right? But now, so coming to the point to understand why I'm so desperate in wanting to leave Belgium, flee Belgium, immigrate to another country, is because first, with my so-called 9-to-5 job, it's not literally a 9-to-5 job, it's more like a 4 to 10 job from Monday to Friday. I've worked there for 15 years, all right? And only the last couple of years after 2016, I've got a little bit of a promotion or growth, what is not the case in many situations because it's a deadbeat, you know, like a dead-end job, a job with no career opportunities. And I got lucky that I'm in a position to have more responsibility, less supervision, more money, and less stress and more interaction with people that I can resolve things with instead of always having to deal with management. Now that's one thing that I'm grateful for. It made me be able to stay in the apartment I'm at, to be able to pay everything and save money at the same time. But it got me to a point of thinking like, look, I've done it for 15 years. I'm not going to do it another 15 years because it's manual labor. You know, it's labor. You have to, your hands, your feet, you know, you have to be active constantly. And it's not like it's back breaking, but you know, your joints and your, and all that stuff, you know, your skin, the things you come in contact with, it can become a burden. You know, it can really get to you at a certain point in time. And if you do that for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you will feel it. You will be able to tell what is going on, and you will have complications. You would need to have some type of intervention if you want to live functional, mobile, and healthy at an older age. So it's not ideal. Like, it's good to sort out when you start working if you're young, but it's not something you want to keep doing until you're old. So that's already one thing I already decided on. I'm not going to do that. I wanted to actually be self-employed and self-reliant as much as possible, but it's not easy to find your way. It's the starting point and the investment that is required that is difficult and complicated. That's one of the reasons I always delayed it and I always just pushed it aside until a point I'm like, look, I'm not being able to do anything. I don't see any future in this country. The economy is collapsing, society is collapsing, everything is burning down. You know, you've got a mass influx of these people that have nothing in common, that are brainwashed, that are supremacists, that are, you know, have a supremacist religious ideology, you know, that kind of want to enforce rules and regulations upon you because you don't want to be a part of their group. And all these things, you know, lead to a certain point that you feel like, okay, if I am not going to take steps and take it serious now, the upcoming 5 to I don't know how many years, then I'm going to be effed. So I thought 2025, 2030 seems to be the year where this stuff is going to go down, like really going to go down. So I have a little bit of flexibility to save as much as I can. At this point, I have 2K. I could have had 3.5K, but I wasted a lot of money on a relationship, and I kind of, to be honest, I do regret it in that sense that it would have been more valued and used in the right way for the future. And I always compare it to the story of the ants and the grasshopper. And in those situations, I am I am like the ants, not like the grasshopper, because I mean, I don't mind spending a little bit on myself and on another person if it makes people happy. I'm not that stingy or greedy, but at the same time, I'm always thinking about the future as well. The more I spend now is the less I have in the future, whether it's short term or long term. And that definitely got to me. You know, it did play its part mentally, it did have its effect, and I still regret it in that way. You know what I mean? It had its purpose, but it's gone. I cannot recover. And if I would continue in that direction of the relationship, I would not be able to recover at any point. I would just lose more and more and more. And apparently in the modern age and modern dating and relationship, seems to be normal that the guy still, in a traditional sense, weirdly enough, spends his entire money on the woman just to prove his loyalty and that he's gonna take care of her, and it doesn't matter if he's on the streets as long as she gets her needs met up with. And yeah, you know, like at times it is questionable. And yeah, sorry, there are mosquitoes trying to get at me. So good thing I'm wearing long sleeves and trousers. So yeah, so these things, and also of course the culture, the W culture, that is also brainwashing more and more and more people, from part of the millennials, some of Gen X, the majority being Gen Z, and I don't know about Gen Alpha, but a lot of people that could, you know, contribute or add something to society in the sense of as a collective. These people are also fighting against anything that should be protected and kept sacred. And what I mean is traditional values, morality, and the traditional household. And it's sad because it's also being categorized as being toxic. And that's also a negative. So these things, like I say, the social problematics, the cultural problematics, the invasion, the financial and economical problematics, the work environment that's toxic, the disconnection with family members that makes things harder to be able to do these things. You know, it drives you to really making rash decisions on the spot. You know, it's like you don't have any choice. You don't have any, you have to, you know, it's kind of, you're pushed into that direction. It's either you do that or you lose. And I feel like there is like some type of setback that I'm going through right now of 6 months that I would have been able to save. I don't know, maybe I could have saved like 1K extra already, you know, or between 1K and 1.5K. And I would have already reached almost halfway my goal that I'm going to talk to you about right now. That is 5K now, half, you know, this last final part of 2024. And then another 5K the beginning of the year to have 10K to start my life over again, you know, with a small moving truck, with all my stuff, my cats, me, all the essentials, and then just go and never come back, never look back ever again. Because my heart and my soul, my spirit is yearning, and I can't delay it anymore. I have to make decisions, but a lot of things are fighting against me to prevent me from being able to leave, and that's sad because I don't want to stay and fight. And I mean, this is not my fight, this is not the thing I want to be involved in, you know, because I'm not the person that decided or made these decisions and let these things happen. Plus, to be honest, I'm not that loyal and I'm not that patriotic in the sense that I want to, you know, lose my life for what? You know, what am I going to get in return? Is it worth it? You know, while other people get protected and preserved and served, I'm actually trash and I should throw away my life. For what? You know, so that doesn't make any sense, doesn't give me any type of security why I should stay. So there are a lot of things that are really pressuring a lot of individuals from the outside in, and it's kind of like an imprisonment by itself if you think about it. Now, knowing my backstory, knowing the beginning, knowing the motivation and the driving force why I have to leave, why I want to leave, why I have to leave, now the last and final part of this video is my destination. So my destination is Bulgaria. Bulgaria. So I originally wanted to go to Southeast Asia, Vietnam or the Philippines, but as a European citizen, it is quite expensive and the procedure is not that easy. Well, it is, but it costs a lot of money just to be able to stay there and live there and work there. And because of that, and the climate during summertime period and monsoons and all that stuff, I wasn't really feeling it. And also considering job opportunities, I wasn't really sure. I mean, yeah, I could have found something, but the point is that there were a lot of more cons than pros to me being by myself and having to pay for everything. So I was like, okay, let's see if I can minimize that emigration process by finding a location within Europe, but just the other side of Europe where people do not want to go to, like more rural areas, right? And I found that places like Romania, Bulgaria, Montenegro, Malta, even Greece and Italy and stuff like that, they're like Czech Republic, Belarus, Georgia. I mean, these are all places that, or depending on if you're touristical or not, if you have a tourist mindset, if you know, it's simple. You want the sun, beach and tourists, you can get that. You want mountains and isolation, you can get that, but you have to decide. And I decided for the mountains because I like living near the sea, but I do not like dealing with tourists. I like being isolated, but I still want the practicality to be able to function if I'm not 100% still, not yet self-reliant. So I needed to find kind of something that would suit what I wanted. So I thought, you know, Romania would have been great, but the problem with that was that I didn't find the right real estate agent. Most of the people were just selling out of hand. And the problem is with these situations, there's a lot of fraud going on out there. So they can basically make you buy property that doesn't exist or has been sold already multiple times, or people are not willing to sell it because of the listing, the fake listing, right? Just like with eBay back in the days. And I've found coincidentally one with Bulgaria, and that was kind of interesting how that went down, you know. And if you're willing to listen to the story, I will share it another time in full detail. But the point is, so unintentionally I ended up in Bulgaria, but I didn't want to, that was not my intention. I never thought about it. But you know, it was like this. If I would have settled in Romania, I would have had to learn the Romanian language, Troman, from scratch. You know what I mean? And since it is very similar phonetic-wise, and it uses the same writing system from the larger portions of Europe, I had to start from zero because I did learn some Italian, and it would have been easier if I would have been more fluent in Italian to adopt that language as well. But since I didn't do that, but I studied Russian for a longer period in time, and you know the Cyrillic alphabet and all that stuff, I was like, you know, it makes more sense to, when I realized that Bulgaria uses the same writing system, the pronunciation is kind of like a dialect of Russian, what I thought, but it's the opposite. Russian derived out of the original language coming from Bulgaria and then formed itself. But the writing system is the same, they have similar words. The only difference is pronunciation, and some letters have a different way of pronouncing it while reading it. But that's not a problem. So I was like, okay, that makes life way more easier. That's like I'm already halfway there. The only thing I need to do is increase my vocabulary, be more fluent in dialogue and conversation. What I'm not good at, because that's like one of the parts of being an introvert and needing to take steps to communicate makes you actually fail a lot of times. And that makes me feel bad because, I mean, I recognize a lot of things. I can understand a lot of things, but it's like, being in a conversation and making yourself understandable, that's still a problem. I should invest more time in it. I want to give myself a year, but you can't find like the right type of courses or apps that actually help you master the language more. So I have a book I found on Amazon that is like 101 or 1001 Bulgarian words that you use in everyday life, and then I've got like an app that does give support with the basics. So I'm trying to combine those two to help me be better at it, you know what I mean? Because I want to integrate socially, I want to become a part of culture, I want to abandon my old identity paperwork wise, you know what I mean, my nationality. I want to forsake my Belgian nationality and fully embrace the Bulgarian nationality. And if I need to protect Bulgaria, the Kingdom of Bulgaria, I will do that. You know, I'm not ashamed. I'm really devoted. You know what I mean? If I get all these things offered, you know, fertile land, housing, water, living, you know, without being like a parasite and living off the government and tax money, still providing for myself, living of the earth, of the soil, plus, you know, investing economically, locally wise, and then at the same time, you know, being able to create my own projects, helping people and all that stuff. That is more a healthy lifestyle that would suit my needs. My health would go up, it would increase. I noticed that when I was there for a couple of weeks, in comparison when where I'm at here. So, you know, to end, you know, this long-winded introduction to the channel is, I really hope in time I'm gonna get there, and I will make update. I will, you know, upload vlogs and do some updates, because a lot of things I can talk about, you know, apps I used to sell my stuff without having to pay anything, but only make money directly, instantly, with everything you can think of. Cleaning out my apartment, getting out the remaining furniture. That's also something I need to plan in. Making sure I've got everything of electronics and setups I'll need over there, because there is nothing, you know what I mean? So, like, talking about these things, yeah, you can expect that in the near future. And if you're willing, subscribe and like, and it would be really awesome, because it's because of one video or two videos of a pensioner from Great Britain that inspired me to go on this pathway, on this journey, and start my life over.